Okay. Next guest, Issa Touma. Issa Touma he owns an art gallery that is called Le Pont in Aleppo. And he does that ever since 1996, so already for 20 years now. He shows mainly photography, and believe it or not, he still owns the art gallery nowadays. He came in from Aleppo 3 days ago. He went by bus to Beirut, Lebanon. Took him 20 hours, I guess. He told me last night. And then he went on a plane from Beirut to Amsterdam. And also, believe it or not, he will be with us only for a couple of days. Then he will be off to Austria. And then he will be back to Aleppo. Because there's one thing, Issa, that you don't want to do, is to leave Syria. You've done some remarkable things. You made the video, 9 days from my window in Aleppo. You made 15 portraits of women who stayed in Aleppo and who are still there nowadays. It's called We Have Not Lost Yet. And you run art camping. That is for people between roughly the age of 15 and 40 years old. And they make art and they communicate. Starting off with this bus ride, actually, like 3 or 4 days, you were still in Aleppo. Yes. And I think that nobody actually could get out, but you just hopped on a bus. How does that work? Because we don't have a clue.
Yeah, you can go in and out always, but how? That is the question. Because
there's still regular buses in Aleppo?
Of course, there's buses and cars and people walk. And last year, when I was coming to Europe in May 5th, in September 5th, so in the middle of the desert, 100 of the cars stuck in the sands, and they cannot move to the border, Lebanese border. And suddenly everybody was going to the south and west side. People walking, people by bus, people by car. But only one person alone was going to the north. I was wished to jump out and ask him, where are you going? Because he's not lost. He's maybe changed his mind.
Yeah.
That one person decided to come back maybe. And it was for me really incredible. I photographed him when everybody going to south and west, and he's lonely.
He was the only one who returned.
No. He was maybe 45, 50 years old, has working against everything. He don't want to leave the country, maybe. I don't know, or miss something. It was not normal. I was wished to ask him, but I think number of the people, I can say something now. Before last year, and when you hear about the refugees and the refugees problem, so you can see thousands of the Syrian was coming. Every day left from my city 4,000 people. So what's happening now, there is only 3 buses going out of Aleppo. That means people who are in Aleppo now, they will stay forever there, because 3 buses weekly is not big number, 150 people, So it's stopped. Whatever is the situation in Aleppo today, we are just like the people who's there. Whatever it's his background, it's all of them decide to stay.
You decided to stay, and with you a lot of other people in Aleppo. Can you tell us something about daily life? Because how does a day start? What do you do?
I can tell you 2 things. From 2 months, we have really so much difficulty. We don't have internet. When you was emailing me and your colleagues, I answer every 15, 20 email once, just because we open the laptop and its page is turned for 20 help hours, and like this until we open one email. So for me, I will answer first your first question. We cannot communicate with the people normal way. If I decide to stay, because it's for me as intellectual, it's very important to stay at war zone, because How many times in your life you get the chance to be witness about dramatic change of the history of your country? Yes, you can die, but at least if 5 message you can bring it out, it's really important message for the world and the humans to know to not repeat the same mistake. So for me, it was important. That's why me and many other colleagues, for which is we are working now in Aleppo cities. So we decide to stay, to bring the right message. But for me, the intellectual who left early 2011 and acting and want to change Syria from outside, I think they are reading the same newspaper of your prime minister.
Before we start talking about the intellectuals who already left Syria, still my question, daily life. I understand it takes half an hour to open up an email, but email, I was more thinking about food and water.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Last 18 days, we had no water in Aleppo. In the summer, 71 days. So every morning, me and like all Aleppo's people job is 3 to 4 hours is moving water from the spring, or not the spring, it's well, people helping each other. No one helping us, we are helping each other, the citizens. City controlled by mafias. We want electricity. When we do activity, we rent electricity with 10 doubles of the price. And we cannot have water. Now I should move water double time, because I should move water to my parent home first in the morning, and later to my gallery and to my visitor. So two different areas. So maybe I was taller before the war, so I become short.
I was talking to you last night over dinner, and you actually told me, which surprised me, you said, here in Western media, you people think that there's hardly anybody in Aleppo, and who's still there doesn't do a thing. But you said, listen, we have shops and they are open. We have people going to university. You almost made it sound like life is going on, which is so hard for us to believe. Can you describe in what way, for example, if students go to university, yes, how do they do that?
Last 2 years ago, one huge bomb, it was, we don't know from where, like every bomb, opposition say is the government say is opposition, we don't care.
A bomb is a bomb, eh?
Yeah, bomb, yeah. It's bomb. So the problem with the media talking always about the dead people, and they don't care the stories of the alive people. If you want this country to survive one day, you should focus on the alive people. It's not mean to forget about the dead people. No. 2-3 years, you can see, the Syria, 200,000 people die. Yes, die. But can you give them life again? No, of course not. But you can save life. And I think if you want to do something for Syria people here, even if 1% of you, just focus on the alive people. Because you can save them. And we have the chance. There is over 1 million people living in my city, and no one write about them. No one talk about them. They say we cannot send journalists. So do you need journalists? There's a lot of people coming out with some memory, with some things in his hand. And we are working there doing art camping, and we are doing just like a lot of activity. And I find one of the artists, he painted 25,000 painting in his wonderful one. I showed last year in Singapore. It was so successful, and book coming out very soon. So it's incredible. And he write behind every painting, that means 70,000 pages.
What can we do for you and those 1 million people who are still in Aleppo? How can we help out?
You can do a lot. You can do a lot, because first you should when you make your politician responsible more and not repeating like bird the same word, I think you can do so much thing. You can focus on the life of the people. You can accept in the university some people who will come back again to work. No one wants to leave. I'm sure that many people will come back after the war in Syria, but it's not the situation in the way you think, and you read about it in the newspaper here. it's completely different. It's complete society.
Because what we read in newspapers over here is that people come here as a refugee, and maybe they are willing to go back, you know, for the first 6 months or maybe even the first 2 years. But after that, they have somehow established a life in this country, in Holland, for example, and then they do not want to go back anymore, which is a disaster for your country, for your city, actually.
But for us, we already lost a lot of intellectual in Syria.
Yeah.
We lost, we need too many generations to replace them, and we to build intellectual again, because we don't have now enough intellectual to exist, because people need them here in the capital cities to dance freedom dance. So they give them salary, they give them a lot of things. So for me, it was become really like, this is not what we want inside, you know?
No.
Those people, for sure, they will not come back, because if they become opposition and the government will become the winner, they will become in the jail.
Yeah.
And if the fighters inside win the war, of course, any of those intellectuals will come back. They will cut his head, because they are not different people. They are not the people your newspaper advertise about them as secular or people. Look at those people will lead Syria. Those people will lead nothing. They will stay in Netherlands, London, everywhere forever.
Yeah. Why?
We lost them forever because of many politicians. They want to play this game.
You have an art gallery in Aleppo already for 20 years. And I assume a lot of your friends, intellectuals, highly educated people have left Aleppo. Are you frustrated by that? Are you mad? Or do you understand them?
Some people, they should live out, because there is part from Aleppo, people who lost his home completely, or they live in very danger near to the border. Not everybody can deal with that. But if this kind of people, for sure, they should leave, because otherwise they will be in danger. But there is always part from the city which is in some way it's safe. Like next to my gallery in last 5 years, I have just 4 bombs, so which is, I consider that safe. So
only 4 bombs.
Yeah, only 4 bombs come, and one of them come in my festival venue electricity building. So it's destroy all my festival equipment. So it's because it's not far from my gallery. So, but I decide 4 bombs. It's safe, safe zone. So
yeah. So you're
not everybody like that should do. It's private decision. But I think for me, I think intellectual, they should take the dangers, and they should stay there, because when you empty Arnhem here, this city, from all artwork and everything intellectual, and everybody left out, you will find a lot of Dutch fanatics will take over the power in the city. Then you will say, oh my God, what I did, you know, I give them the power. Of course, the fanatic will take the control. Any chance you give them, they will control it. You have fanatics. We have fanatics too. Yeah. You know, and this is what's happening in Syria now.
I'd like to, actually what you did is you made a video when the violence started in Aleppo, and it's called 9 Days, help me out, View from My Window? No,
9 days from my window.
Yeah, can you show us a little bit?
Yeah, it's short now.
It's a trailer, actually.
Because it's 13 minutes. You can see it complete in the Doc Correspondant website.
الساعة 8:15 الصبح ناس غربة بلشوا يتمركزوا بالشارع.
بعتنا لكم واحد او شو؟ يا عسكري يا عسكري شق منك له شق يا ابني شق.
محاربين مبينين مثل طلاب الجامعة، حالقين دقنهم، لابسين تي شيرت، حتى مو مبين عليهم ابدا انه هن متدربين على الحرب.
لك يا ابني انا عبدكم. 9 days from 9 days from my window. Yeah. Can you show us a little bit? Yeah, it's short now. I think for me, my
Issa, tell me, where can we find the whole film? One more time, please.
In De Correspondant, the page here in Netherlands.
But actually, if you Google it, you'll find it.
You will find that
in a
photo,
second. Issa Touma, thank you very much. It's a short interview, but later on, ladies and gentlemen, you will be able to ask him some questions. Ladies and gentlemen, Issa Touma, please.